So we're talking about America 2025 exposed. Who's winning? Who's losing? We're gonna bring this character up. They saying that Charleston White and Charlie Kirk is one and the same. You the black version of them.
Or the Charlie Kirk for black people.
There's no such thing as a Charlie Kirk for black people. No. Let me tell you why. Because I'm a black man that stopped looking at white people's problems and started looking at my people's problems. Charlie Kirk didn't look at his people's problem. He stayed looking at black people's problem as if we're the problem. We're not the problem. My problem with people saying Kirk is like me, he ain't stood up to the white supremacists. He ain't stood up to the skinheads. I've been standing up to the negative elements and the detriment of black people. He ain't looked to white people and said, hey, we got a bunch of white kids shooting up schools. Say we got a bunch of white kids and their babies. We lead the nation in child pedophilia and molest children. Hey, man, we need that Epstein list out. They say the president's name is on that list. He ain't doing that to his people. He was a talking point who spread a lot of misinformation, almost the borderline of lying.
And some people I see in the comments, he ended it there with saying it's borderline lying. People saying, he was just flat out lying. And so it's a lie here. But he hit on the fact that, he called out his people, and I guess the Charlie guy must have been one-sided with his approach.
There you go. May that brother rest in peace. But there we go. Now we talking. Shout out to the brother Beans. Welcome in. Look for Glaze Galaxy. Shout out to the brother Beans. Came up here and put on display the inaccuracies in what Kirk was saying. Again, may rest in peace. And shout out to Charleston White. That is true. That is a fact. And that is in stone. We, as melanated people, we are not the problem. No, but we are a problem. We're not the problem. It ain't once if you correct us, everything is good. No, that's not it. But we do have our own problems. But that was a good observation by Charleston White. And see, we focus on us. Yeah, there you go. Now shout out to Top Pro. That's a point you make. Why they worried about us? Why ain't they worried about itself? Why ain't calling out T-Money and Epstein list? Yeah, now we talking. Now we get somewhere.
Going back to the ICE, it's important that we know that they don't like us. So, like your brother said, it's important that we have all our ducks in a row.
That's it. At the very least, like I said, you don't have to like it. You know what I mean? Glaze Galaxy. However, if you're gonna be out here walking on U.S. soil, again, shout out to my father-in-law. Understand the rules of this game and then play by them, or don't. And then there's consequences. It ain't about fair. Life ain't fair. We can't just say that and then not acknowledge it. Life ain't fair. Shout out to Jay Tillman. What you got, brother? Welcome in, Mailbox Sports.
Yeah, man. Regardless of the institution, people with certain agendas gonna make sure they get in the positions of power so that they can exact their agendas or whatever they want to do on people, just waiting for the right time. That's all it is. There's military, police, ICE. They infiltrate that stuff and they be quiet. They find like-minded individuals so they can, hey, oh, Johnson, Smith, yeah, y'all come with me, y'all. And then they get in there and they do what they want. So the system is I don't know if I want to say it's still caters to that in totality, but it definitely turns a blind eye to it. So
you know what? I think it does cater to that. I think it's a term called like cronyism or something, where like T-Money is putting all of his cronies in these positions of power so that he ain't never gonna get any backlash. And that's my whole point. It's very gangster. The laws, the Constitution, it's all very much gangster. If you're on the wrong side of it, they don't care what color you are. They don't. That's why I found it funny, like that poor white folks think that poor white folks like T-Money. He hates you. You are poor, and he will spit on you, man. I think that's so odd. T-Money. You live in a trailer park. T-Money think you're garbage.
Basically, what Jay just said about that, I think all infrastructures insulate themselves that way. And the mafia is the best representation of it because it undermines everything except itself. The good old boys club and everything else in that are nothing more than what you should strive to have in that particular instance because that's what they look to achieve. And the problem with people of my color is that we don't understand that they use the fist mentality. And like Jay said, they find like-minded individuals to achieve a goal. They move in a stealthy manner to achieve said goal. They have an infrastructure to go along with that so that they don't crumble upon themselves so instantly, even if it ends up happening that way in the long run. And I think the fact that we don't ever contemplate or the strategies in those things, as opposed to being so critical, calling things corny, lame, using such hyperbolic terms to not realize that they are creating the generational wealth and things that you talk about. I have obviously a lot to lose in slavery, but you can understand from the oppressor's aspect that I stole and conquered a lot of things and I want to keep it in my possession. So how else would I do so unless I left it to the people that have my like-minded interests and the people that are in my cronyisms, as you talk about. My cronies, my friends. I'm a sports guy. When you get new coaches that are hired, oftentimes they hire the guys that been around with them. Doesn't matter about the success levels at times. The guy who been in the trenches with you, who was a TA with you or whatever, those types of guys get jobs on your staff. And it's only logical to do things in that way. We critique it in a way that says that we instantly look at it in only the way that we choose the wrong people to build that. LeBron, if we talk about people in sport, is a guy who took his inner circle and gave them all opportunities to be empowered, yet he didn't give them anything. He gave them the opportunity to do things the right way, ascertain the correct qualifications to do certain things. And now that infrastructure with Rich, Maverick, and everybody else is spreading out to be $1 billion corporation. If you had more persons that thought in that mannerism, like the oppressors and other persons that have their agendas intact, we would be more progressive about those things. And I think when Charleston talked about tending to in-house, those are the things that we should be more focused on, because it gives us the opportunity to, yes, they think we're so chaotic and unorganized. You have the perfect opportunity in guys to go ahead and get organized, be unified, and execute a plan of your own. But we spend so much time trying to have the instant result, we lay no groundwork for a plan.